Welcome back to my channel. So in this video I'm gonna bake a 2 pound Christmas cake, also called fruit cake, rum cake, black cake, wedding cake, you name it, the same cake me I talk about. Alright, so I'm using 1 cup of granulated sugar. You can use brown sugar if you will be following this recipe. What I did was to blend the white sugar to smooth it out a bit so that it resembles icing sugar, or what you call it, powdered sugar. Yeah, so that it will be easier for me to cream it with the margarine, because I don't have a stand mixer and I'm not buying any. So I use 1 cup of leveled granulated sugar. You can also use less sugar if you want as well. So I am using chiffon. Yeah, chiffon is a margarine in Jamaica, and they say that it is hot, healthy, and that is what I like to use. If you want to use butter, go ahead and do so. So I'm using 1 cup of chiffon margarine, but that is a half measuring cup, or whatever you want to call it. So I'm gonna use 2 half cup. So now I'm gonna cream the margarine and the sugar until fluffy. Yeah, man.
Hey, hey, man. Hey, me a the teacher. Me a the teacher. Hey, kulira gwenze musomesa asomesa basomesa. Ze musomesa asomesa basomesa. Pina mana ze musomesa asomesa basomesa. Ze musomesa asomesa basomesa. Cho, when I'm in a class, students call me as some of them a call me professor. Nadala bakampa sama kelele.
I am using 6 eggs. I remove the eyes, and then I use a fork to break up the eggs, and then I added 2 teaspoons of lime juice, which is equal to half of a small lime, but you can actually measure 2 teaspoons of lime juice if you want. You can also add the eggs one by one to the cream butter mixture, and then add the lime juice. The choice is yours. I actually have two other videos uploaded that you can see how I added the eggs one by one. Giving the egg a good mix until light yellow, pale in color I should say. Then I added to the cream, butter, and sugar mixture, and then give it a good stir.
Hey, kulira gwenze musomesa asomesa basomesa. Ze musomesa asomesa basomesa. Pina mana ze musomesa asomesa basomesa. Ze musomesa asomesa basomesa. Cho, when I'm in a class, students call me as some of them a call me professor.
It's time to add the soaked fruits. It's a 2 pound cake. I am gonna bake it, however, into 2 different containers, 2 1 pound containers, but it's 2 pound in all, right? So I am gonna use a cup and a half of soaked fruits. If you really love lots of fruits in your cake, you can go up to 2 cups, but it's a small cake, so there's no need to overpower the cake with too much fruits, and you don't want to add too little as well. And I'm baking this cake for a specific reason, so I have to portion out the ingredients correctly, right? At this point, you can add half teaspoon of orange zest or lime zest to the mixture. At this point, I am not using any zest in this specific mixture because, as I mentioned before, I am baking this 2 pound cake for a specific reason. I will be making more cakes with zest in it, because I will be making 3 cakes with different ingredients, because they are my taste testing cakes. So now I'm gonna add a little bit of browning, and this is where you comes in now, because you will add the amount of browning to suit your taste. Some people do not like their cake black. Like this cake that I'm baking, it won't be black, because the people that will be taste testing it do not like black cake. So it won't be black. So it depends on you if you want your cake to black, or you want it not to be so black, or you want it brown. Just add the amount of browning accordingly. You understand? And then give it a good mix. I also added 2 teaspoons of vanilla flavoring. It didn't record it because I was not aware that I wasn't recording it. So at this point, add 2 teaspoons of vanilla as well. Whether you want to use the extract or you want to use the flavoring. If you're using the extract, you can use 1 teaspoon. I use the flavoring, so I use 2 teaspoons. Okay, so now in another container, I sifted 2 cups of all-purpose flour. To the flour, I am adding 1 teaspoon of baking powder, 1/4 teaspoon of salt, and about 2 teaspoons of mixed spice. Now, if you want to put grated nutmeg or cinnamon powder, go ahead and do so, but I do not put those spices in my Christmas cake. So you can add like about 1/2 teaspoon of cinnamon powder and 1/2 teaspoon of grated nutmeg, and then mix the combine. I am using 2 teaspoons of strawberry jam. The jam helps to give the cake a mild texture. The jam is at room temperature, so there's no need to melt it in a microwave. As a matter of fact, whether you're using butter or margarine, it should be at room temperature. The eggs should be at room temperature, so make sure to remove everything from the fridge before you're ready to use them. So now I combined the flour mixture into the sugar and margarine mixture, or I should say I combine the dry ingredients with the wet ingredients. Give it a good stir. Make sure to stir properly so that you don't have any dry flour. You need to get all the flour wet. Yeah, man. So just stir properly.
Whoa, whoa. Reggae culture. Reggae culture. Me love reggae culture. And every day me fight feel like a real soldier. Big up reggae culture. Paying true to all the rings, that's a piece of Jamaica. Long time you there, your people still follow ya. Cause everybody.
Okay, so now I am gonna add a little more browning. Look at the color and see if it needs a little more browning. At this point, it's all up to you and the color of the cake that you prefer. So you're gonna add the browning a little bit at a time to see whether you like it light brown or dark brown or black. Yes, so just add the amount of browning that is pleasing to you. Yeah, man. So don't go overboard too much, because you know that if you use too much browning, it tends to give off a bitter taste. Yes, so just use cautiously. The mixture is a little bit too stiff, So I am adding just a little bit more port wine, also called fruit wine, and a little bit of the overproof white rum. And then I added just a pinch of salt, which is about 1/8 teaspoon. But listen, taste the mixture and see whether yours need salt or what, right? Yeah, man.
I read him up, we mash up like every night. Be ready to smoke it up, he went to put your lighters up. No matter if it's hip hop or one drop or over up.
Pour water into a container and then place the container in an oven, and then you preheat the oven to 350 degrees Fahrenheit. So now I'm going to pour the butter into a grease container. So what I did was to use just a little bit of butter, not butter, margarine. I used just a little bit of margarine and grease 2 containers, 2 1-pound containers. And then I sprinkle a little bit of flour, and then I place piece of grease paper at the bottom of each container. You can look on my Christmas video, my Christmas cake video from last year, and you will see how I did all that, right? So now I'm gonna pour the butter into the containers. And because I use my hand to cream the margarine and the sugar, so no air was incorporated, so there's no need to tap it on the countertop really. So I'm gonna bake it for at least 1 hour and 10 minutes, but when it reaches to, like, I would say the 50 minutes mark, you can test it for doneness, right? Yeah, man. The cakes are out of the oven, and now I'm gonna pour wine all over it. I'm gonna cover it and allow it to cool until the next day. So this is the cake the next day. You know, with Christmas cake, the older it gets, the better it tastes, right? Yeah, man. So what I'm gonna do now is to slice up these cakes and send them to different business places as taste testing to see, you know, because I'm gonna take orders. So I normally do this every year, just sending some taste testing slices of cake. Yeah, so I am gonna bake another one that is of the pudding texture. To that one I am gonna add prunes, because I didn't use prunes in this one. And then I'm gonna bake another one with the zest. So 3 different types, and you know, they're gonna taste it and tell me which they prefer. Yeah, so this is an idea for people who, you know, bake and sell cakes at Christmas time. You can target places like the bank, JPS, Water Commission, and all of them business places there. But one thing though, you will need a food angler's permit. They're not gonna do business with you unless you have a food angler's permit. You can get that at the clinic. It's very cheap, it's not expensive. Yeah, but you will need a food angler's permit before you can do business with places like the bank. Business places in general, they need food angler's permit. Yeah, man. So my Christmas cake is moist, it is soft, it is nice. And this is the cake. This is a Christmas cake. If you want the Christmas pudding, instead of adding 2 cups of all-purpose flour, you're gonna add 1 cup of all-purpose flour and 1 cup of breadcrumbs. And so the breadcrumbs will give it the pudding-like texture. Now, That is for a 2-pound cake, right? But for the 4-pound cake, if you want the pudding-like texture, just look at my video, my Christmas cake video from last year. That is the Christmas pudding with the breadcrumbs. Yeah, man, you'll get a 4-pound. You'll get a 4-pound Christmas pudding. Exact 4-pound. This is an exact 2-pound, right? 1 pound. Yeah, man. So that's basically it. And me don't have to tell you. Let my customers them tell you. My cake always a #1. Very moist, very nice. Yeah, man. I them for tell you. Don't make me tell you. So that's basically it, you know. Thanks for watching.